Instead of just talking about Caleb Williams, I'm going to combine Caleb Williams and Bo Nix because they're very similar. Both talented, both in a rookie contract, both uneven, both miss on some layups, both make big plays, right? Both have offensive coaches, Sean Payton, Ben Johnson. And yet there's a lot of criticism of both. How are they winning? Does quarterback play even matter anymore? How is Denver a number 2 seed? How is Chicago a number 1 seed? How is Bo Nix 10-2? Quarterback just doesn't matter. It's overrated. How is Caleb Williams 9-3 a number 1 seed? It's all very explainable. Go look at their O-lines. The top 4 O-lines in the NFL, none have a quarterback that's making the max money. There's 2 ways to win big in this league. Superstar quarterback, mostly taking a team-friendly deal, or a really talented quarterback, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, on a rookie deal. So I'll give you an example. I think what's underrated is how good Chicago and Denver's rosters are. If you're wondering how Bo Nix and Caleb could potentially end up as number 1 seeds and be so uneven, let me give you an example of how good the Bears and Broncos rosters are. Here are the 10 best players. Okay, and there are excellent players I'm not including. And I don't care what the order is, but I'm going kind of close. Nick Bonito, Denver. Patrick Surtain, 3-time Pro Bowler, Denver. Joe Tooney, Pro Bowler, 3 straight years. Darnell Wright, Chicago. Drew Dahlman, number 2 ranked center, PFF. Garrett Bowles, number 2 ranked left tackle, Denver. Hufanga, the safety, unbelievable player, USC, San Francisco, and now in Denver. Montez Sweat, 7.5 sacks, game changer since he arrived defensively in Chicago. Quinn Miners, right now the number 1 guard on PFF. Kevin Byard leads the NFL in interceptions. I am not including in the top 10. Do you see how many offensive linemen were on that? The Bears and Denver arguably have the best offensive lines in football. Detroit's up there. I didn't count Jalen Johnson, who's a Pro Bowler, but he's been hurt most of the year, so I won't count him. He may be their most talented defensive player. I'm not counting Zach Allen for Denver, who would start for every single team in the NFL, every single one. So when you're like, well, how does Bo Nix, how does Caleb Williams? Rookie contract, really, really high-end offensive coaches, unbelievable offensive lines. You don't have to complete 67%. You can be uneven. Now what you hope is, over the next 2 to 3 years, Bo gets up to 66, Caleb gets up to 61.5, 62.5. And all the bumps in that uneven quarterback play. I mean, when Brady was at his best, you got the same Tom Brady literally every Sunday. He would throw picks, but it was the same guy. It was the same Peyton. It was the same Breeze. It's mostly the same Mahomes. But with these guys, you're not quite sure quarter to quarter, half to half what you get. If that evens out, and it needs to, because as you get paid more, think about this. How are these guys number 1 seeds? Caleb Williams' cap hit is only 15% of Dak Prescott's. Bo Nix' cap hit is only 8% of Dak's.
Yeah. And this is where I want to talk, because I think there's a lot of confusion around Bo Nix right now. And I think combining him with Caleb Williams is an absolute grave mistake. And I'm going to prove it to y'all right now. I just made this video focused on Caleb Williams, and I was like, I want to do one now and focus on Bo Nix, because it's actually completely different, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. Before I get into it any further, Denver Broncos fans, please do not forget to watch the full length of the video and subscribe. It is without a shadow of a doubt the best way to support the growth of this channel, so I can keep making the best possible Denver Broncos content that I can. When you guys watch the full length of the video, when you guys subscribe, this is what happens. Views go through the roof, subscribers go through the roof. And as I emphasize, it's not just about having a ton of views and a ton of subscribers. It's about creating content that people want to watch, people that they want to be part of, creating an actual community where we can have real discussions, real honest, grounded discussions. So when you guys watch the full length of the video, when you guys subscribe, this is what happens, and we start an avalanche so we can be rooted in this NFL community, in this NFL talk world. But now let's jump right into it, because there are some stark differences right now. Now, listen. Bo Nix has benefited from a better defense than Caleb Williams, without a shadow of a doubt. And he has benefited from actually having Sean Payton in year 1 and year 2. Where for Caleb Williams, year 1, coaching especially was an absolute mess. An absolute mess. So for all intents and purposes, I view year 2 for Caleb as more of his rookie year, first year with Ben Johnson. Zero continuity. Bo Nix had all the continuity with Sean Payton, and that matters. That matters tremendously. So there's been some benefits and some non-benefits. I can't think of the opposite of benefits right now. Disadvantages. And so I want to get that first part out of the way here. Because I'm not trying to make the argument that Bo Nix is better than Caleb Williams or that he's a better quarterback. They're going to have a better career. He's doing more with less. Like, that's not necessarily the purpose of the argument. But it's just combining them together, I just think is incredibly unfair in this moment of time. Let's just start with the easy, low-hanging fruit right now. Bo Nix leads the NFL in drop passes. 31. When everybody was having the panic attack with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in 2023, he had 29 passes for the whole season. 29. Bo Nix is on pace to absolutely, positively shatter that. Him and Trevor Lawrence, to be fair. Okay? 31. That is a devastating amount of drops. 10% of his attempts can be dropped. 10.4. Trevor Lawrence is at 11.3. So again, they're both dealing with it. Dak 7.1, Flacco 8.2, Caleb 7.6. Like, these are big swings here. Everyone's talking about Patrick Mahomes' receivers, 5.6. Bo Nix has more than double. Again, he has 31 drops in 12 games, 11 games. What is it? Yeah, 12 games. It's insane. So when we look at the adjusted completion percentage, which now controls for drops and controls for throwaways, he's top 14. He's at 76.2%. Mac Jones, who's been insanely accurate, 79.5. Jared Goff, 81.2. Caleb Williams is dead last at 69.6%. Okay? That is not equivalent to what Bo Nix is experiencing right now. It's just not. It's just not. So it's not fair just to say, well, Bo Nix has been as uneven this, that. And it's just like, that's not fair. And yeah, they both have now successful O-lines. Okay? Without a doubt. But Bo Nix has actually dealt with the pressure better. From a pressure to sack percentage, 9.5. Caleb has done great too. Absolutely. And again, Caleb deserves credit and praise for this. 12.5. They're both top in the NFL at dealing with the pressure in terms of taking sacks. But Bo Nix is getting rid of the ball, 2.76 time to throw. Caleb Williams is still holding on to the ball, 3.24. He's just been more successful these days at scrambling. He's just more comfortable scrambling than he has in the past. So, yeah. And again, the Bo Nix has benefited from an elite defense. No doubt about it. The Bears lead the NFL in takeaways, just to be clear. And from a rushing attempt, they're second in the NFL. They're practically first, okay? They have 1,846. Buffalo has 1,868. So to call them second is not even really totally fair, honestly. They average 155.7 yards per game, the Bills, and the Bears are 153.8, right? So it's like they're both number one, okay? The third place is, hundreds of yards less. And then you got the Broncos all the way down here at 1432. Everyone says that the Chiefs can't run the ball. Well, they have a whopping 12 more yards than the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. So let's be clear about that here. Everyone's ripping the Philadelphia Eagles for their inability to run the ball right now, and rightfully so. And they're at 1302. So no one can necessarily say that this Broncos have this, reliable run game here. Okay, rushing first downs, the Chicago Bears are number 1 with 108. 108. The Denver Broncos are at 75. Okay, 75. That's huge. I mean, the Chicago Bears have 374 rushing attempts. The Denver Broncos, 314. They are relying on Bo Nix a lot more. Okay, on target percentage, Bo Nix is above the league average is 75%. Bo Nix is 76.4%. Caleb Williams is dead last at 67.3%. Okay, Bo Nix's bad percentage, off target throws, 17.3%. Caleb Williams, 22.5%. So again, none of this is to say Bo Nix great, Caleb Williams bad. I just made a whole video defending Caleb, discussing Caleb's struggles and inaccuracy and some of that type of stuff. Like I keep saying, multiple things can be true at the same time. I just don't think it's fair to sandwich Bo Nix and Caleb right now. That's all I'm trying to say. And I will say that Bo Nix is actually more responsible for a larger burden of the offense for the Denver Broncos. And his receivers are letting him down a lot more than Caleb's are. Just a fact. And I'd say that Ben Johnson has done a better job at scheming guys a lot more successfully than Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton is great. I'm not blaming Sean Payton necessarily. I'm just saying Ben Johnson is on one right now. And since we're talking about big play abilities, Colin says, both these quarterbacks are struggling, but they both have the abilities for these big plays. Well, the reality is these big plays are going to be either scrambles, like direct scrambles where they're just running with their legs, obviously for like 20 yards, 30 yards or something, or it's going to be a deep ball. Because if you end up having a big play or like a scramble where you extend the play and then you throw it, and you make something out of nothing. But for the most part, if it's a big play but you're not throwing a deep ball, it's like a 10-yard pass that then gets taken to the house. It's like, well, that's a big play, but I don't know if that's on the quarterback necessarily. You got to deliver him an accurate ball and in a way that he can then catch it and run for sure. But like, I'm just not necessarily putting that a big check mark in, in the quarterback's thing. So who's been a better deep ball passer? Well, then that would be Bo Nix. Has a higher completion percentage on deep ball passing, more touchdowns, has 8 touchdowns. Caleb has 6. Bo Nix has 644 yards. Caleb has 587. 37.5% completion percentage to 35.2% completion percentage. They have similar attempts, 56 attempts to 54 attempts, so it's not like a volume issue here. He has a higher PFF rating of 91.6, Bo Nix, to 90.2. And again, this isn't to say that Caleb has been bad. Like I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, I can't emphasize that enough. But it just is what it is. It just is what it is. And then if we want to talk about some of these layup throws, which are going to be more of the shorter passes, the 0 to 9 yards, we'll just use adjusted completion percentage because we know all the drops are through the roof. I mean, look at this. Bo Nix has had 14 drops on passes that are 0 to 9 yards. Pretty crazy. But his adjusted completion percentage is 83.4%. Caleb Williams, near the bottom, 79.9%. And I think for this one, it's not really fully worth it to go through touchdowns. I mean, Bo Nix has more touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. Caleb has 6. I think at that point, I'm going to credit some of those short. If you're throwing these short little passes and scoring touchdowns, like, I don't know if I can credit it to the quarterback at that moment. Obviously, when you're in the red zone and you're throwing like a beautiful back shoulder ball or something like that, then yes, yeah, obviously I'm going to credit that to the quarterback. But I think a lot of these times it's going to be a little bit more on the coach's shoulders. So and it's just too difficult to parse out right now to be able to just confidently be like, and he has more touchdowns. Like, even though it benefits my argument, I'm not going to use it because I have integrity. But yeah, but although I think completion percentage is going to be a lot more straightforward in that regard. So again, I know I've said this now multiple times because people seem to still struggle with these types of conversations. This is not meant to downplay Caleb Williams, to pull him down. It's not meant for any of that. It's not even necessary to elevate Bo Nix. It's just, I just don't think there's the need to combine them right now. When we're trying to talk about quarterback play, what do you need? Quarterbacks struggling versus quarterbacks that aren't struggling, quarterbacks that need to improve. Bo Nix needs to improve. Bo Nix needs to be better. Caleb needs to improve. Caleb needs to be better. Both quarterbacks are benefiting from various different things for their respective teams. Absolutely. But I think Bo Nix is actually being more harshly judged right now. I really do. And I'm not entirely sure why. I think it's because he's thrown some inaccurate deep balls in the beginning of the season where he had some receivers legitimately open. You're like, yeah, that guy's open. And he's just overthrown them. And it's just like, all right. Right. And like that is like burned into people's brains. And when you have some of the games where you're like, okay, you won 10-7, right? And they're like, that's burned into people's brains. But that doesn't automatically mean that he's been so inconsistent. And when you're talking about a second-year quarterback in the NFL, a second-year quarterback who now has more drops before the season is even over, we got like another month worth of games. He has more drops than Patrick Mahomes has had in a single season for an entire season, the year that everybody just kept saying, they can't stop dropping the ball. They can't stop dropping the ball. That's why his numbers are bad. That's why he's struggling, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, this is a second-year quarterback having to deal with that. Quarterback in his second year. It's a lot. That is a huge burden. I expect better quarterbacks to kind of navigate that, or excuse me, not better quarterbacks, more experienced quarterbacks to be able to navigate that a lot more smoothly. Because they're veterans. You're a veteran for a reason. You're a veteran. That comes with something. This is a second-year quarterback having to deal with this. That's a lot, man. That becomes crushing. That affects his own level of confidence, the throws that he wants to make. Like, it's tricky to navigate. These are complex relationships and complex situations that you have to kind of work your way through here. And that many drops can have devastating consequences, especially for a young quarterback-led team, a young quarterback-led offense, and especially one that doesn't now get the benefit of being able to hand the ball off and then go get 6 yards and a first down. Like, it has devastating consequences. When it's 2nd and 10, you throw a pass that should be a first down, it gets dropped, and now it's 3rd and long. Now there's a lot extra pressure to like convert this, get this done. The pass rush is coming at you now, despite how great your O-line is. They're coming for your head. And you also can't reliably hand the ball off on 2nd and 10. And now it's 3rd and 3. And you're like, all right, good. You know what? We're just going to run the ball again. 3rd and 3, hand the ball off, get the first down. Boom, new set of downs. 1st and 10. All right, now we'll take a shot downfield. Like, the Broncos have not been able to benefit from that flow and that rhythm. Like I keep saying, in any type of game that I watch, no matter what the box score shows that run game, all the time I'm always like, yeah, they had 110 yards, but like you couldn't really trust the run game. You couldn't really rely on the run game. Like there's never been a sense over these last 2 years that you're able to just to be like, yeah, this run game has been consistent, reliable, setting you up for like a nice 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, or if it's like 3rd and 5, like, and you're at the 50 or something, or the 40 or something, and you're just like, we can hand the ball off here. And worst case scenario, it's going to be 4th and 1, and then you're just kind of like, we'll be lucky if you get 2 yards here. Like there's just never been that sense in this Sean Payton, Bo Nix era at all. So I'd say even the bottom line numbers of the run game can be kind of misleading, honestly. Because there's just never a sense of just like, all right, just run the ball now, milk the clock. Like they've just haven't been able to benefit from that at all. And that just puts more pressure. There's a reason why Bo Nix is like top in the NFL since he's drafted in pass attempts. So they've relied on Bo Nix again and again and again. When a bunch of the game-winning drives that the Chicago Bears had, it was the run game. Colin even pointed that out. Against the Minnesota Vikings, they had a big punt return, a kickoff return, kick return. I think a kickoff return. And then it was handoff, field goal. What did the Broncos do? Pass. Not saying that Caleb hasn't made big plays or big passes, big scrambles. I'll say this one last time. Not downplaying what Caleb Williams has done. I'll say it one last time. Not downplaying what Caleb Williams has done. But more has been on the shoulders of Bo Nix. We can elevate without bringing someone else down. I tried my best to do so. Tried my best to brighten the flame without reducing the flame of someone else's. We'll see. You never know in the land of the comment section. And I'm posting both these videos probably within like an hour of each other. So we'll see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos in this comparison to Caleb Williams? Do you think they should be kind of compared and they're in similar boats in terms of quality of play, not expectations, but like how they're perceived of how they're being, how it's being contributed? Like Colin is making the argument essentially that these teams are kind of carrying their quarterbacks. That's why he says at the bottom, is Bears roster carrying Caleb right now? And that is essentially the argument that he's making. Maybe not in the traditional sense of like these quarterbacks are awful and they're just completely being carried, but like that the roster is carrying the vast majority of this burden. And again, to be clear, both quarterbacks are benefiting from coaching, roster, etc., etc. They're both in awesome situations. They're in better situations than what the Buffalo Bills got going, the Baltimore Ravens got going, the Carolina Panthers, like they're absolutely benefiting. And that's a good thing. If you're a Broncos fan, you should be celebrating. You should be like, yeah, that's right. And if you're a Bears fan, you should be like, yeah, that's right. That's what I said to the Bills and the Ravens fans when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And they were like, oh, Jalen only won because he's on a better team. And it's like, if that's true, then build a better team. You think you have the better quarterback, so then why are you not good enough? Why can't you why can't you build a better team then? Like, that's on you. That's on your franchise. So say it with your chest. Don't be like what the Kansas City Chiefs fans did for years, where they're just like, the team's not good. We're both the most dominant, greatest team in the history of the world. But when we want to elevate Patrick Mahomes, we do now want to blow out the flame of all the other players, coaching staff, etc., etc. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. It's okay to benefit from your team. You can have a great quarterback. You can have a great coach. You can have a great O-line. You can have great running backs and great receivers, etc., etc. All things can be true at the same time. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.